Welcome back. Room has been painted. Now it's time to start taking care of the outlets. In this wall, I already have two outlets. Unfortunately, they're on the same circuit, which is branched off another circuit, which has a ton of other stuff on it. I'm not even sure all that is on it. So they're getting separated. I'm putting two additional outlets on this wall. Each one of them is going to get its own circuit run to it. Seen in a previous video where I replaced a sub panel, ran 5 lines through here. So 4 of them are going to go to the outlets here. There's going to be a double outlet up here that'll be mounted behind the TV that's going on this wall, because I don't like to see wires. So I'm going to be doing the circuits, mounting the TV, putting covers back on, putting this light fixture back up on the ceiling. And yeah, so I may as well start with some of the easier stuff. So let's get to that. Little tip, when you're doing electrical work, do not do it on an aluminum ladder like I'm about to. Luckily, I'm not actually playing with the wires, I'm just putting the fixture back on the ceiling, so whatever. I did make sure not to have this light on for very long before I did this, so the bulbs didn't get hot. Okay, next step is to plan out where the outlets are going to go. Now, this wall is getting a desk. It's going the full length of the wall, and it's going to have 5 legs on it. So I'll have 4 sections, one for each of my kids. I do want to make sure that none of the outlets are going to wind up sitting right behind the leg of the desk, because that'll make things hard to plug into it. So what I've done, I don't have the actual legs yet, but I know how wide they are, so I just cut up some scrap pieces of cardboard so I can lay out, figure out exactly where the legs are going to be, and then I know where I need to put the outlets. So let's do that. Start with the easy ones I don't have to measure. On the end of the wall. One about there, one in the middle. Okay, now I have to find the center of the room. Easy trick to do that. Take a tape measure, but also take a ruler or a yardstick. Instead of trying to read the little measurement on the tape measure, because that's never accurate when you just butt the back of it up against something and then you add that measurement to whatever you're reading here. Never ever found one where that's accurate. So an easier way to do it is if you lay your tape measure down against one wall, you get close to the other end where you're trying to measure, take a yardstick, lay that against the other wall, and then you just pick any spot where they overlap and add the 2 measurements together. So here I can say 96 inches plus 28.5 inches is math inches. Okay, so I know the full width of the room. In the middle is going to be 62.5 inches. I don't have to get everything absolutely exact, just rough enough so I got an idea of where not to put an outlet. Okay, so this is where it really helps to have a plan. So the idea is desk is going to go all the way along this wall. I know that the legs are going to be about 28 inches high. I'm using a section of countertop as the desk surface. That's going to be made out of 3/4 inch particle board, but I'm also going to put 3/4 inch plywood and glue it to the underside to take up that recess. And that's going to give me a better mounting point for the legs and all the stuff that I'm going to attach under the desk. You'll see in that video. So I'm going to have 29.5 inches to the surface of the desk. Monitors are going to be mounted a little above that, probably mounted directly to the wall, although I'm not positive yet. Each one of these sections is going to be for, where a kid is going to sit. The computer in each section is going to be sitting probably about yay high, facing that way against the wall. So the glass panel on the side of the computer that lets you see all this fanciness inside of it will be facing out. And then it'll be all lit up and pretty and all that. Anyways, so we got the station for one of the kids right here. I'll deal with this one. So this is a station for one of the kids. Computer's gonna sit here. This outlet I wish was over a little further, but it's already there, so I'm gonna have to deal with it. But I do know that because of how the computer orients, all the cables are going to be coming out on this side. So I need to have the outlet over towards this part, but not behind the leg. So if I look at these, this one is already in this section. It's over, should be far enough. This one I'm going to get the flat 90-degree plugs. And then the computers actually aren't going to be plugged into the wall directly, but I'll get to that in a later video. I'll go into detail about that later, so don't worry. In short, I want to make sure that I mount the outlets, that I have one in each section of the desk, not behind the leg, but to the left. So everything is out of the way. So that means I need to put an outlet in about here, and another one in the corner over there. So yeah, I want them all the same height, keep things as uniform as I can. So all I'm going to do is measure for the height, estimate where it's going to go, and then I'll have to measure from a point of reference that I can see on the other side of this wall. The other side of this wall is actually wide open. So measure to a point of reference so I can go over there, make that same measurement, and make sure that I'm not going to cut into a stud or anything. So, yeah, let's get to it. Anyways, so I pulled a lot of the wire, these two outlets back, However, the wire is still attached to them back there. Some of it is still up there because I have to pull a different wire in there. And the way these boxes are designed, they just have a couple little flaps in here. It's not just an open hole. You can pull the wire in and clamp it down. Makes pulling the wire back out that way a royal pain. However, if you got to get a new wire in there, you can tape them together, and I'll be able to just use the old wire and pull it straight through with the new wire on. And this makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, so wires are all run into the wall. Yeah, now it's time to put outlets in. Two of these, I did have these outlets in. However, these are 15 amp residential grade outlets. Bit of advice, you're gonna replace any outlets in your house, don't get the residential ones, they suck. This is a 20 amp commercial grade outlet. Match the amperage to the breaker that it's going to be hooked up to. I'm going with 20 amp breakers. Also, make sure match the wire to it as well. You don't want a 20 amp breaker and a 20 amp outlet, but have a wire running to it that can only handle 15 amps, because, well, then the wire could get hot and start your house on fire. So, yeah, that's bad. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just don't do it. But anyways, gonna buy an outlet, get commercial grade. They're not that much more money. They're far better quality. They will last longer. And to be honest, they're just easier to hook up. The residential ones it's electrical slang for Walmart quality. Yes, I know, there's probably going to be a lot of people, well, hopefully one day there will be a lot of people watching this video that are going to say, oh my God, there's so much wasted wire. Yeah, there is. I do tend to pull extra, but you know what? Pulling too much is a lot better than pulling too little. Pulling too little, you can't get the job done. Okay, so got the outlets in. I don't have them hooked up in the breaker panel yet. I've marked the center point on the wall here. Now we got to get this TV mounted. So to do that, I want it centered in the wall, and it has to go as high as I can get it, obviously without it bumping into the ceiling. So first thing I'm going to do is see where the mount is going to sit on the TV. And then we can measure from the top of the TV to the top of the mount, and then get it up there. So here we go. Now all I'm doing is looking for a reference point so I can go to the other side of this wall and make sure when I put the bolts through here, I'm not going to hit anything that I don't want to hit. raise it up. That was a bit of a pain. Now I have to figure out where I'm going to be putting this box. This is going to get a pair of outlets put in it. I'd like it hidden behind the television, because once again, I don't like to see wires. So the power plugs in on this side. And I'm going to need to make sure that it'll have enough room to, well, plug things into it. So, and of course, I also forgot to take the tape off the wall before I bolted the mount up there. So I'm going to have to loosen the mount and pull the tape off the wall behind it. I probably won't do that. I'll probably just peel the tape off behind it and just tear it off, leave the little pieces that are stuck left behind the mount. Nobody's ever going to see it again anyway. So yeah. So just mark where I want to cut a hole for this, and then once again find another reference point before I actually cut the hole through for it. And then I can get this set up, get the outlets wired and in place, and then I can punch them down inside the breaker panel, turn the power on. If you notice, I only got covers on 2 of the outlets I put in here because I ended up buying the smaller sized covers kind of stupidly. And well, this one I don't have covered because the tape took a little bit of paint off the wall, so I want to touch that up before the cover goes on. On the one over here, the cover doesn't quite get over the spot here on the top and on the side. So what I'll probably do is just get a brush and touch up with a little bit of paint around it, so once the cover's on, you won't really notice it. I mean, there's going to be a desk over it anyway, so it's not that big a deal, but it's also a really easy fix to make, so I might as well make it look as good as I can without going overboard. So yeah, just mark where this is going to sit with some tape. few spots of paint on the few spots where I have to fix the paint on the wall, and then punch the wires down to the panel, and I'll be done for today. So get back to you and show you the result. All right, well, been a long day. Yeah, you go over what you need to do and you think, oh, a couple hours, no big deal. But then you remember all of the junk that's in your way. But regardless, kids' new 50-inch TV, which is basically a giant Echo Show. Sorry if I activated anybody's device. Yeah, so this section's done. Coming soon will be flooring, I suppose. So, see you then.